Chapter 7. Non-resistance. Non-resistance may seem impractical to an established religion, since every country must have its laws and courts and police, and at least in modern conditions, its army. However, a religion has two levels of obligation: the minimum obligation upon all who follow it, and upon countries where it is established, and the full obligation upon those who devote their lives to following the path laid down, regarding all worldly advantages as nothing in the search for blessedness. And it is only in this second and higher sense that Sri Bhagavan established a path, and therefore for himself and his followers he could say, "Resist not evil." It was no social law for a whole community that he was proclaiming, but a way of life for those who followed him. It is possible only for those who have submitted to God's will and accept whatever comes as right and necessary, even though it may be misfortune from worldly standards. Sri Bhagavan once said to a devotee, "You thank God for all the good things that come to you, but you don't thank Him for all the things that seem to you bad. That is where you go wrong." It may be objected that this simple faith is very different from the doctrine of oneness that Sri Bhagavan taught. But it is only on the mental plane that such theories may conflict. As Bhagavan said, submission to God, Guru, or Self is all that is needed. As will be shown in a later chapter, these three modes of submission or surrender are really not different. It is enough to say here that for one who can hold to the view that there is only the one self, all outer activity appears a dream or cinema show enacted on the substratum of the self, so that he will remain an impassive witness. This was the attitude of Sri Bhagavan on the few occasions when evil or molestation threatened. There were tamarind trees outside Gurumurtam, and when he was living there, he would sometimes sit under one of them. One day, when no one else was about, a party of thieves came to carry away the ripe tamarind pods. Seeing the young Swami sitting silent at the foot of a tree, one of them said, "Get some acid sap and put it into his eyes. Let's see if that will make him speak." It is a sap that might blind a man, apart from the fierce pain it would cause. But Bhagavan sat motionless, equally unconcerned about his eyes and about the tamarind fruit. Another from the party of thieves answered, "Oh, don't bother about him. What harm can he do? Let's get along." There was occasional interference or opposition during the early years on the hill. In the strange world of sadhus, where some are frauds and some have striven on the way and developed psychic spiritual powers or siddhis, without burning out their lower passions, it was to be expected that the radiance of divinity recognized by devotees in one so young in years should awaken resentment in a few, though most bowed down and sought his grace. Living in a cave on the hill was an elderly sadhu who had shown great reverence for Sri Bhagavan as long as he was at Gurumurtam. After coming to Virupaksha cave, Sri Bhagavan would sometimes visit him and sit in silence with him. He led a life of austerity and had followers. Nevertheless, so far was he from having overcome human passions that he could not endure to see the number of the young Swami's followers increase and his own diminish. Deciding to kill Sri Bhagavan or frighten him away from the hill, he took to hiding on the hillside above Virupaksha cave after sundown and dislodging rocks and stones so that they would roll down there. Sri Bhagavan sat unperturbed, although one stone came quite close to him. Always observant, he knew well what was happening, and on one occasion he quickly and silently climbed the hill and caught the old man in the act. And even then, the old sadhu tried to laugh it off as a joke. Having failed in this attempt, the sadhu enlisted the aid of Balananda, a plausible scoundrel, handsome and well-read, who imposed on people under the guise of a sadhu. This person decided to make profit and prestige out of Sri Bhagavan. Rightly deeming that the young Swami would be too saintly to resist evil, he started posing as his guru. He would say to visitors, "This young Swami is my disciple." Or, "Yes, give the child some sweets." And to Sri Bhagavan, "Here, Venkataraman, my child, take the sweets." Or he would keep up the farce by going into town to buy things for his so-called disciple. Such was his effrontery that he would say blatantly to Sri Bhagavan when alone with him, "I will say I am your guru and get money from the visitors. It is no loss to you, so don't contradict me." This man's arrogance and offensiveness knew no bounds, and one night he went to the length of revealing himself on the veranda of the cave. I should say, relieving himself, urinating on the veranda of the cave. The next morning he went out early, leaving his spare clothes, some of them silk with lace borders, in the cave. Sri Bhagavan said nothing. He went on a long walk to one of the sacred tanks that morning with Palani Swami, and before they started, Palani Swami washed the veranda, threw out Balananda's clothes, and locked up the cave. Balananda was furious when he returned. He stormed at Palani Swami for daring to touch his clothes, and ordered Sri Bhagavan to send him away immediately. Neither of them answered or paid any attention. In his fury, Balananda spat on Sri Bhagavan. Even then, Sri Bhagavan sat impassive. The disciples who were with him also sat quiet without reacting. However, a devotee from a cave lower down heard of it and rushed up shouting, You dare spit on our Swami?" and could barely be restrained from setting upon the rascal. Balananda decided that he had gone farther than was safe and had better leave Tiruvannamalai. He pronounced the hill not a proper place and departed with his usual arrogance. Going to the railway station, he entered a second-class compartment without a ticket. A young couple were in the same compartment. He began to lecture the young man and order him about, and when the latter took no notice, he became offensive and said, "What? You don't listen to me? It is because of your infatuation with this girl that you don't show me due respect." The incensed young man thereupon took off his sandal and used it to give him the thrashing he had so long needed. After some months, Balananda returned and again made himself a nuisance. And on one occasion he insisted on sitting, looking fixedly into the eyes of Sri Bhagavan, in order, as he averred, to give him nirvikalpa samadhi. But what happened was that he himself fell asleep, and Sri Bhagavan and his disciples got up and walked away. Soon after this, the general attitude towards him became such that he once more deemed it safer to depart. There was another sadhu also who tried to gain prestige by posing as the young Swami's guru. Returning from Kalahasti, he said, "I have come all this way just to see how you are getting on. I will initiate you into the Dattatreya mantra." Sri Bhagavan neither moved nor spoke. So he continued, "God appeared to me in a dream and ordered me to give you this spiritual instruction." "Well then," Sri Bhagavan retorted, "let God appear to me also in a dream and order me to take the instruction, and I will take it." "No, it is very short, just a few letters. You can begin now." "What use will your instruction be to me unless I go on with the invocation? Find a suitable disciple for it. I am not the one." Sometime later, when this sadhu was in meditation, a vision of Sri Bhagavan appeared before him and said, "Don't be deceived." Frightened and thinking that Sri Bhagavan must possess powers which he was using against him, the sadhu hastened to Virupaksha cave to apologize and beg to be set free from the apparition. Sri Bhagavan assured him that he used no powers, and the sadhu saw there was no anger or resentment. Another such attempt at interference was by a group of drunken sadhus. Appearing one day at Virupaksha cave, they solemnly declared, "We are sadhus from Podakai Hill, the sacred hill on which the ancient Agastya Rishi is still doing tapas, practicing austerities, as he has for thousands of years. He has ordered us to take you first to the Siddhas conference at Srirangam, and from there to Podakai, to give you regular diksha, initiation, after extracting from your body those salts that prevent your attaining higher powers." Sri Bhagavan, as on all such occasions, made no response. However, on this occasion, one of his devotees, Perumal Swami, outbluffed the bluffers. He said, "We have already received an intimation of your coming, and have been commissioned to put your bodies in crucibles and heat the crucibles over a fire." And turning to another devotee, he bade him, "Go and dig a pit where we can make a fire for these people." The visitors left in a hurry.